Hey, Mr. Mogeni. Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, been a long time coming. We've postponed this once before, and I'm super glad that we can actually get this done. Your story is one that needs to be told and heard with the ecosystem, and for those coming behind us to actually learn from your experience. I love what you guys are doing. I think you and your co-founder are an amazing team, and can't wait to hear more about this. So, first question I have for you is, Brian, look, you're an entrepreneur right now, building a high growth, amazing, exciting company. Was entrepreneurship always on the cards for you? Growing up, what did you want to become when you were a kid?
Growing up, I've looked at 3 jobs that were, well, apart from telling my mom and dad I wanted to be a pilot, a pastor, an astronaut, just to please them as well. It depends on the setting. I would do that just to please them and get what I want. But generally, for me, the 3 careers that I think I would have always been doing. The first one is a professional footballer. Football was my first love.
Same here, man. That's crazy.
Are you serious? So we should play football. I play on Wednesdays and Fridays, so we can play.
You need to let me know where. It's been a while since I've pulled on a pair of studs, but I've been thinking about it, Brian, and so we need to do that. Where do you play?
We play on Wednesdays at Jaffrey's at 6 p.m. Great group of guys.
Nice
on the side, I'll make sure we add you to the group. But yeah, football would be my first one of the 3, jobs, if I was to say that I would do. Growing up, I think I actually played for Huddersfield Town Academy in the UK. Cool. That's I look at sport. I look at business as a sport. A lot of the things that and the core values of what I do today as an entrepreneur, I picked from football, from my upbringing and you're playing academy football. I've got friends who are playing for Man U, for Sheffield, for this, for that.
Amazing.
We were being trained by an ex-England coach, and some of the things I picked there were hard work, teamwork, discipline, learning to win, learning to lose, and those came from football. So football would be my first other job. Secondly, if I was not an entrepreneur, I would love to have one of the jobs for the guys for Top Gear. Probably
driving cars
James Clarkson, and making the best jokes, man, and just being free. Those guys, and then other than that, I would be an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship is something that's always been, I think, generally in me. I've stemmed from an entrepreneurial family, from my grandmother to my dad to myself. My career before Wowzi has been in entrepreneurship. Pretty much everything I did, apart from my Accenture stint, was been in entrepreneurship. And it started way back. I recall being, at the same time I'm playing football, I was about 13 years old. I spent half of my upbringing in Kenya, half of it in the UK. And my mom would we would stay in a general middle class area. My mom was a nurse, and she didn't want me and my brother to hang around the what, if you call it, the boys in the hood.
The roughnecks.
So she took us to school. She took us to school on the other side of town. I remember being in my year group. We were 143 people, and we were 3, let me say, guys of color.
You're 3 black guys. Just call a spade a spade.
3 black guys. I'm on the podcast, so 3 black guys, and I had to commute through town, through the CBD. This is in Leeds, in England, and through the other side of town to go to school. So every day I would have to go through town to get home. And I actually and those days now I'm playing football. Of course, you wanna look good, you wanna have the best trainers and everything. Of course, your mom is doing a lot for you. My dad had passed when I was about 9 years old. So as I go to school, I would get like about 150 pounds every single day, just as pocket money and some money to use on the bus. I have my bus card. So what I would do with that £1 on my way back,
£1.50. You said 150 pounds. You mean £1.50?
Yeah, £1.50.
Got it.
I would use the 50p for just maybe get myself a snack in school or something. Then the pound, I would save it. And on my way back from school, I'd pass by the pound shop, and then I'd buy a big bag of sweets.
Nice.
I'd buy a big bag of sweets with like 50 lollipops. I put it in my bag. Then when I go to school the next day, I sell those sweets. I literally used to sell 2 lollipops, and I would make my pound back. And then I have like 25 more. Literally.
You are that straight hustler from jump.
every single day I would go home with £10. Literally.
Wow.
I would spend £1, I go home with £10, I put the £9 in my little piggy bank, I carry the next pound like that every single day.
Wow.
Even girls were actually my best customers. I even remember like when it gets to like 3:30 p.m. and people are going home, I'm like, okay, my lollipops are not 50p anymore, they're 25p. Who wants? I have a few here. Who wants? At that same time,
so cool.
at that same time, I'm actually playing academy football. So 3 times a week I'm going to Huddersfield to train. Like that was my life. Go to school, sell the sweets, go train, go home, do your homework, go like that. Saturday comes, go train. Sunday, get on the bus, go play a game, go play Nottingham, go play Liverpool, go play these guys. So yeah, within a short time, I actually used to have a lot of money, and I would actually go buy myself the football boots that my mom would say are too expensive. I'll buy her passion juice. I'll buy myself juice. So that's where it started. That's where I really started. And then since then, it's just been a natural trajectory.
Amazing story. This is probably the best. What did you want to become when you grew up, and was entrepreneurship part of the journey stories I've ever heard on the podcast? Potential professional football player, to sweets, to lollipop hustler, to now, like, this is so cool. You're gonna say?
No. Yep. And football, I would love to still be a professional footballer if my legs allow. Maybe I can be a pro with Mark, because we played my friends. But yeah, even the Top Gear show, that could be something I could do. That I really love. I love what they do. But yeah,
you know what?
Yeah, that's my thing.
I think we live in a time right now where people can have multiple careers.
True.
Once Wowzi is done and you're out of that, who knows? You could have a TV show, the Top Gear of Africa. Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think something that is close to my heart is I want to become a football coach for probably like really, really talented footballers. I don't know the age group that I'll start with, probably from under sevens to probably under 16, somewhere there. I want to coach. So I tell all my friends, my cousins, the ones who are having little boys, I'm like, let these lads grow a little bit. I will round them up, and Saturdays they'll come to train, because that's something I'm very passionate about. I actually want to become a coach for football for young kids, because I could see what it did to me. I could see the people who were coaching me when I was growing up, shouting in my face. They really care about me.
Right.
I would love to extend that to other people. I think the values, the skills that you learn in sport and in football go beyond that. So
sure.
that's something that I'm being very intentional about, that I will do together with Wowzi and also after Wowzi.
Fantastic. Listen, man, let me bring this home to you. So I personally, soccer was my dream. To play professional football was my dream. And when I was growing up, and the calculus I made was I enjoyed the sport a lot. I was decent at it. And I was like, man, I had to find a way to make it pay beyond just, okay, you've done high school and then you forget about your sports day and sports life. And it's how I was able to go to the US. I got a sports scholarship, soccer scholarship, full ride, and I was able to go and actually make football pay for something in my life and extend it beyond just high school. So I played, quote unquote, semi-professional in the sense that it paid my education. It opened a door for me, so to speak. And
it actually did the same for me. It really did the same for me. I think. My co-founder Mike says he has a saying that I've carried it, and I actually say it more than him now. But you only connect the dots backwards. And when I also look back, football and what I did and the way I did it very well at a very young age actually really helped me even after I stopped playing football. The relationship, so I really resonate with that, and I understand that. That's amazing to hear.
Yeah, you're getting me fired up, man. I'm coming to play with you guys from next Sundays. You said Wednesday and Fridays?
Wednesdays and Fridays. Wednesdays at Jaffrey's, Fridays on Rock Road, but probably come on Wednesdays. I'm sure the first Wednesday you come, the next day you wake up like a log, but the Wednesday after.
I know. I know. I'll try and take it easy, but I'm excited. This is great. So anyway, let's dive into the story. I mean, this is why I love doing this podcast, because you just never know where stories will take you and what you learn about people and share with the world. And so, looking at your career trajectory, you talked about intrapreneur, a very interesting word that we'll unpack here. So when I look at your trajectory career-wise, and before we get to that, so what did you study in uni? Did you go to uni? What was your trajectory education before pre-work life?
Yep. So my education. So I'm actually also a Saints guy. I love St. Mary's. I love the culture from Saints. When my mom retired, I'm the last born. My siblings are still abroad. Two of my sisters are in the UK, my brother's in Malaysia. So my mom retired, I came back with her. And then I went to Saints. After that, I went now to do A levels. Then after that, I went to SAU and I studied international business. I did a double concentration in management and entrepreneurship, and my education there, I found it actually better than what I expected when I went there. One of the main accolades I got as a surprise is in my first year, I got the top GPA.
Oh, wow.
Out of 1,200 students. I didn't believe it when I told me that they literally called me and told me I'm playing FIFA in the hostel after class. And then I get called. I'm like, Brian, there's an event next week. You've won an award. You need to show up. I mean, I've pressed pause. Yeah, I've pressed pause. I'm playing my friend, and I'm like, I'm like, yeah. After I hang up, I'm like, I tell Dennis, my friend, I'm like, how can I win a competition I've not entered? This must be just a prank. I didn't enter myself. So yeah. So I didn't take it seriously. Yeah. And then I just moved on. Then the next week, the actual award evening happened. I didn't show up because I didn't even know it was happening because I didn't take it seriously. Then I get called by my friends like, Brian, you won. That was one of my main highlights. We also won the university football league across East Africa with all the referees against us.
USIU had a team like that?
We are the last guys who won, by the way. We're the last guys who won. I have a few medals here from that. Cool. I love sport, actually. Even when I was playing football when I was growing up, I did athletics. I was being geared up to go for Olympics. So I really love sport. But yeah, that's what I studied, management and entrepreneurship. That was what I concentrated in. I started working very early in my career. So before I actually went to uni, I did an internship at Accenture, where I was an intern to a very senior consultant who was helping the government of Kenya transition from providing their services in the old manual way to the digital, experience that we have today, which is Huduma. So,
right.
I was 18. I'm putting on a suit. I'm following this lady. She was earning $900 a day. I was like, what?
Holy cow.
I'm being picked up in a cab. I'm going to like breakfast, lunch. I'm in big boardrooms, even if I'm in the corner, and I did an aptitude test online and then they got it. And
wow.
And then that really opened my eyes, because after I have a day with her, and then at like 5 p.m. I go hang around with my boys, because we've just all finished high school. Yeah,
right.
I'm like, wow. So that really opened my eyes. I was still doing my own little business on the side. But in my second year in uni, after we won now the football league, I felt like there must be more. Okay, we've won the league. There's nowhere else we're going to go. University league. It's very first and foremost poorly organized. It's just the team that actually carries you there.
It's a poor excuse for a league. It's just passionate guys who want to play. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally it. That is it. And a bus driver who drive you somewhere to play. That's it. So yeah, after that, I wanted to do more. I was doing 5 classes, more than people are doing. I needed. So I went to the school notice board. I saw some jobs. I applied. Funny enough, one of the jobs that I applied for was for Rocket Internet. And it didn't say Rocket Internet. This is when Rocket Internet was actually coming into Kenya.
Right.
So I joined Rocket Internet as an intern. I literally recall being in the office in Cracker House with Sasha Pobrenyak, with, the way I am on the ground with my team sometimes. They were literally like that. Like they were putting out fires, doing strategy, everything. Like, and then now, you can see what they've done. So I joined now Africa Internet Group as it was setting up very early in their month 2 as an intern. Within a year and 3 months, I was pretty much second to the MD. And this is a company that has expats, that has people who've gone to school somewhere. I'm very young, even right now, so that was my first, entrance to entrepreneurship. We were actually now, and what Rock Internet does, find technology that works in developed markets, deploy in emerging markets, scale it, exit.
Right. The guys who behind Jumia and all that. Right?
Yeah. So those days, now there was Jumia, there was Jovago, there was Hello Food, there was Kemu. I was now in the Easy Taxi team. I'm probably very sure you might know Easy Taxi.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
And Easy Taxi today is Cabify. It's very strong in the Latin markets. It's done a few mergers and acquisitions.
Right.
So that's where it started. I remember, launching, our task was, you have this product, it's beautiful. I loved it. I was so fascinated about it because, after growing outside, my first 6 months back in Kenya, I had the worst culture shock. Like for the first 6 months, I recall, I'm being sent to the shop to buy bread. And then that time my accent was very strong. So
you're an English lad.
I could just see that, I just get boxed in this place because I speak like this. So I didn't like that. And I'm trying to buy bread in Swahili, and I need 3, 4, 5 words. I have 3. So I had a massive culture shock. So, after I'd settled into that.
How old were you at the time? 18 or 17?
I was 16.
Oh, wow.
So, after I have experienced that, and then I appreciated the chaos, and I loved it, and I saw opportunity, and I saw it's just, you can do so much here, so much faster.
Right.
There's just so much to be done. So after having that experience, when I saw Easy Taxi, I was like, wow. And then, the tax experience those days was like the most gangster business you could ever do.
Oof, yeah.
They would look at you, if you check a cab, they look at how you're dressed. Or if you're going Karen, 1,200 or 3,000.
They would price you based on your destination and your attire.
And your attire, literally, that's it. And then these guys would have big stomachs, and they would carry 3 passengers, and they would make 8,000 a day, It was a very lucrative job for them. So we're coming in to tell these, and they have really crappy cars. we're coming to tell these guys, like, look, you're gonna fast, and like I look at deploying digital businesses, I think we're in the best. Like my mom is on TikTok right now. My mom and my 7-year-old nephew at a family gathering are on TikTok doing this. I'm like, even I'm not doing that. It's fascinating.
Amazing. Cross-generational. It's
It's
amazing.
It's mad. That shows you what TikTok have done. They've gotten my 63-year-old mom. It's not just mine. Probably a few people in my team, their dads, they're all on TikTok because they just. So we were deploying technology, and first and foremost, these guys didn't even have smartphones. So first thing you have to tell the guy is get a smartphone. They didn't know how to put data. They had crappy phones. They were charging what they want. We were here telling them, the first price per kilometer that we set was 100 shillings. Right now it's 27 or 23, literally. Okay, and they still would not buy.
Of course, because you are trying to, impinge in their business model and their lives. I mean, that's it makes no difference. So had Uber moved in at the time, or was Uber still before Easy Taxi?
So Uber, we moved in 8 months before Uber. Yeah, this is when Uber moved in and they were giving iPhones, and taxi drivers went to making, 60,000.
They were giving iPhones?
Yeah, hey, Uber came with money. I've competed with Uber in multiple markets, and I know the Uber of today is not the Uber of that time. Uber that time.
That was market entry Uber, right?
That was Uber under Travis. Uber would come in and they would splash the cash, man. One of my favorite books, it's actually over here. It's called Upstart. I don't know if you've read it. It's a great book. It talks about the Uber story. They talk about the trenches.
Yes.
And also
behind the scenes.
It's a great book. Check it out. Upstart. Lovely book. I love it. One of my best. So when Uber eventually, actually, Easy Taxi and Uber have the same investors, so they're kind of the same company. So eventually, how Easy Taxi exited the market, Goldman Sachs put in a ton of money in Africa Internet Group, which had 6 ventures. One of those ventures is Easy Taxi, and at the same time, they had just finished putting $2 billion in Uber. So part of that deal was that Uber is going to take every single market apart from South America. Easy Taxi, you can go to South America. That was the deal. That's literally how Easy Taxi exited.
It was made on, the deal was made on paper, basically in a boardroom.
It was made like way above, like. So yeah, that was my first stint at entrepreneurship. Where from there I started as an intern. I remember actually being told the first job is go and tell people to download. I was like, literally, that was my job. Like, just get people to download this app. And your target is 60 per day. And how you do that's up to you.
How do you keep track? How do you keep track of your numbers? How do they keep track of the downloads? Was there some way to track that, or was it based on? Was it based on an honor system?
There was a code.
Okay, there was a code. Okay,
there was a code.
Nice.
Yeah. So I did that for a week, 2 weeks. I had exhausted all the people in my estate, all the people in my neighborhood, all my friends. So my numbers started going down. At the same time, I'm competing against someone who is very hungry, someone who's like walking from town to I don't know, bus road. So that's when I actually went to my. I remember being in the office. It's an open plan office, so the MD is there. He's Peng Chen. If you know Peng was my first boss. Very sharp guy. I've been very lucky to work around very smart guys throughout my whole career. I really appreciate that. Ex-Wharton guy, super sharp guy. And at that point, I could see that I cannot just be walking and telling people, this is doing it the hard way.
It's not me.
It's not me, man.
I gotta work smart. I gotta work smarter than this.
I was like, I'm gonna fail here if I do this. So I remember in the morning around 9 a.m. in the office, and that time I'm an intern. I have Stella, who was my boss. She's like, deputy marketing manager. Then there's a marketing manager. She's an American lady. We're still good buddies. Then on top of that, then there's Peg. Now me at the bottom, I'm in front of everyone. I'm like, in the office, I'm like, when we're now doing debriefs, how many downloads did you do yesterday? I'm like, you guys are not using me. I remember these words. I said it. I was like, you guys are not using me properly. But then, when I said that, you could see people's heads turn. They were like,
Who's this?
What? What? You know, who? And then I could see, I'm like, this, I just told them, I think this is the goal that you give me. I think I can do it in a different way. You know, if you tell me to go out in the street and tell me one by one, I don't think that. So they were like, what? And then now Peng is there, yeah. You know, I said that in front of everybody. So they all heard that. And then I'm like, just give me a chance. Let me do it my way. And let's see. So I put my head on the firing line there, like I was ready. Like, so you know what I did? I went back. I went back to school because I was still in school, yeah. So I'm going for class. I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do? I don't really have a plan, by the way, yeah. But I knew their plan was not.
You knew that their plan sucked.
Yeah, but I didn't
it was the bottom of the barrel plan.
yeah. I was like, no.
There's got to be something better than that bad plan. You knew that.
So I go to school. I go to USA. I go to class. I'm like, look, I have all these students. They take cabs when they go out. Like, then I was like, okay, how can I get these USA students? I was like, USA guys, they're a bit bougie. Like, it's going to take me longer. And I had been around school, so I'd understood the political environment, you know, the student bodies,
the
and
dynamics.
So what I did, So what I did is I went to Daystar. I went to the other side of town. I went to Daystar. I went to the student body. I told their chairman, I'm like, look, me, I know.
Is it because Daystar is less bougie than USIE? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, no, I just looked at USIE. They're going to waste time. These are going to be slow guys, man. Like this guy, my driver, you know. So I went to Daystar, yeah?
Different market segment completely.
and also, yeah, like people who don't know me, you know. So I went to Daystar. I went to the student body. I talked to the chairman. I told him, I know you have a mandate you need to look like you're doing something. Yeah.
Right.
That's good for the students. I know that that's your problem. Yeah. The students over here, I know they take cabs. And I know it's not safe sometimes when they take blind cabs or if they drive drunk or whatever that is. Me, I have this product that will help the students, get home safely. That will look good for you. And then I also told him, I can also bring my MD to come and speak and motivate these guys. This guy has a great career. He's done this, he's done that, you know. And then I also have these free vouchers because they would give me at Easy Tax, they would give you vouchers for downloading to give 300 bob. If you download the app, I give you a voucher. So me, I already had the vouchers anyway. So I was like, this is this. Right. And then if we host this event, every student, to make sure people show up, every student who shows up, we give them a voucher. This guy was game. Literally within like four days, we had organized an event, flyers, everything. Pen came, and there were we were planning for 400 people in the auditorium. 500 guys showed up, man. And they all downloaded the app in 1 minute. They're all like, the student body talked. I came, I said a little bit, I introduced the product, I introduced Peng. Peng spoke. And then at the end, I told everybody to download. And they all downloaded like, bam.
Amazing.
I got 500 downloads in 1 hour. And these guys were telling me to get 60 per day. From that day, I never did that job again. This was a very critical point in my career, by the way. Let me tell you. I was being very cocky. I could have gone the other way. But from that day on, now, at Easy Tax, everybody, they started trusting me. They let me do things my way. I became an assistant to the social media marketing. She didn't know how to design. Peng used to design. I'm like, oh, we need to do design. I started doing design myself, Photoshop. So I can actually design. My first designs were very, very ugly, but I used to think they were so good in those days. When I look at them right now.
When you look at them now, you want to say, who did this stuff?
Who did that, man? What is that?
Too funny.
I did that. I became good at that. I did digital marketing. I eventually, within a year and a half, I had done a little bit because it was a startup. I would support Peng in everything you wanted to do. Corporate accounts, selling, like I had done a little bit of everything, the tech, the product. So even that time when now Easy Taxi was actually, even now when Uber did this investment, we were told to wind down. They actually left me to wind down the business, literally. But I really loved it, that experience. That was my first entrepreneurship. After that, because I was very passionate to that, revolutionizing transport. That mission had gripped me, and I was not done with it. Within a week after we shut down, I was like very sad. I'm like, what am I going to do? In the office, there are people who, who are about to have a baby. There are people who are just like, there was someone who had joined and quit a company a week before we got shut down. I felt she's a good friend. She's doing very well. I was like, wow, the people are going through worse things than me. Even me, if I've lost my job, it's fine. Funny enough, within that same next week, I got 5 offers. It was extremely humbling from different companies. I don't talk about this, but there's even an instance where they actually interviewed someone who used to work with me to ask them, is this young guy really who he is? Like, someone came and told me. I eventually took a role at Mondo, which was a very scrappy startup, the crappiest tech I've dealt with to date. And I look at what I'm doing today. It's a culmination of experience of the good, the bad, and the ugly. We didn't have money. I joined Mondo. Within a week, I'm being told go to Tanzania. I go to Tanzania.
And what was Mondo? What is Mondo doing? What was Mondo in?
Still taxi hailing. Mondo Ride.
Mondo Rider.
Yeah, Mondo Ride. So
Mondo Ride.
Some guys who had launched in Saudi, they spent too much money there. They came to Africa. Funny enough, businesses, even Bolt. Bolt. I've met with their founder, is a friend of mine. I talked to him quite a bit, and they had literally tried for like 4 years and did not crack it. They literally got their first traction in Africa. That's where Bolt took off. By the way, they had tried Europe. What? Africa is the one that set them off. So me, I'm at Mondo Ride. I've joined. 4 days in, I'm being told you're going to Tanzania to be the country manager. I go to Tanzania. And that time I'm still winding down his taxi. I told them I have an extra month in this company. I need to wind it down. But anyway, let's keep moving. I got TZ my first time. I was actually replacing a 42-year-old German guy. That time I was 22. I was Jesus. 22. And I remember being in, and I'm coming in as a country manager in this Tanzania. You know how Tanzania is, isn't it?
Tanzania is different.
I'm having dinner, with our VP who's brought me there to like do the handover. I'm having dinner with this other guy and the CEO. And I'm like, at first, I'm the only black guy here. Number 2, I'm like the youngest guy here.
You're
like,
the youngest by a country mile.
So I took over. That guy had been there for 3 months. It didn't work. I think culture was a massive issue. 4 people were exiting. I actually literally had to read the labor laws for Tanzania in 2 days. It took me 3 hours to Google and find a copy of that document in English because it's all in Swahili, which is not my strong. I read that. I managed those exits, because it's a very sensitive thing in Tanzania. Through the business, I remember times we didn't even have money. We're running out of funding. I've not paid rent. My apartment is the office because I've made the living room an office and put desks and everything. I've not been paid for 3 months. I'm not being paid as much as I should be paid. I should be paid like 3-4 times what they pay me. I know that.
So they basically handed you a poison chalice.
I'm literally getting there. I'm going into my little savings to give a guy $100, $200, like, hold on, we'll get this out, hold on. And I'm in another country and I've not even paid rent. I have to go into man, like literally.
Jesus Christ.
You know the CEO of Mondo, who is one of the other really sharp guys I've worked with, he's now a big VC in Dubai, ex-Goldman Sachs guy. He actually is one of the guys who built Groupon. This guy, after he came and told me about, now after we went down that slump, we didn't have money, we raised money, we are competing against Uber. We can't fight them. That's why I learned you don't fight giants with sticks. You have to play the gorilla. We focused on corporate. We built a business that actually hit a $6-figure US month-to-month revenue. Now once we've done that, these guys were having dinner. He's like, when we sent you to Tanzania, we thought you were gonna die, man. We don't even know how you did it. I'm like, what? You guys knew what you were doing.
Oh my God. They were like, let's get the greenest 22-year-old and give him this thing and let's see what happens, man. That's amazing.
I even respect them for that, just doing that. So yeah, I did that. And then once that scaled up, now that's when I think when Opera, which is originally Norwegian, got invested, it got acquired by a consortium of Chinese investors who came on board and look, you have 350 million users across the world. In Europe, America, it's going down. In Africa, Asia, it's going up. You're just giving them a browser. Can you do more? that's why the whole, even the motto of opera became do more. They came in and said, can we do more? So that's when they were looking for guys in Czech who, in Africa, who know what they're doing. So I'm in TZ, I'm training people. I get a call. I'm like, there's some people in Kenya. They want to meet you. This is the recruiters. This is like a Tuesday. They're like, they're here until Friday. Can you meet them? I'm like, I'm in Tanzania. I didn't tell my team. I called my bro. He helped me get the flight back because Mondo's still not paying me enough. I landed the next day. I went and I met the guys at Capital Club. They told me about Opera. They're looking to hire. They're looking for, a director of product / BD in East Central Africa. They need people who've been there, done that. And that was it. Literally, my Opera interviews. One of them was in an iPhone store. The second one, which I didn't expect it because I just happened to be in the lift with the CEO of Opera, another really sharp guy, at Capital Club from ground to 7th floor. He's like, "Oh, you're Brian. Oh, I've heard about you." Bang! Then he hit me with 3 questions straight away. I get to the top. That's when I did my interview with my former boss. He's called Nuno. Great guy. A lot of my bosses, like I said, I've worked with the best guys. They've trusted me. Nuno he was the VP of mergers and acquisitions. He had been at Opera for 15 years. These are the OGs, man. And we had a 45-minute. After that, we literally just told the rest of HR interview, ops interview, but then those were just procedural. Then I joined Opera. I joined Opera to look after OPE in East Africa. We built OPE in Sifa Towers over here. We had the Swedish developers from Opera. We borrowed a small team. They lived in Radisson Blu for 3 months, and we built the MVP. At the same time, when I'm meeting customers, I'm trying to bring requirements. I still actually have a lot of ideas that I wanted to execute with OPE that I've not done yet, that I think, man. And I actually joined OPE because I was like, oh, we're going against M-Pesa. I hate buying airtime.
Let's get it.
Through 8 steps, man. I'm like, why the hell am I buying airtime? I have to go when you buy airtime, it's like 10 steps. Now at Opera is now where I learned the good. Again, you see, we didn't even have a product. We built the product. So all of my roles are, you have a product or you don't have a product, you have resources, you have a market, and you have a goal. And you're just told to figure it out, literally. And that's pretty much how it's been. So yeah, we built that beautiful product. We tried to get licenses. I even learned that every time you go to the bank, wear a tie. There's a time I was in a little, I was in a little meeting, for CBK. I actually met the Grab CEO at that time. It was very high level, at their HQ on Thika Road over there. And a very small room. Again, guys were like 40, 50, 60. At that time, I'm like 20, 25 there. And I wore a blazer. I wore a shirt. I wore everything, but I didn't wear a tie. Then, I realized everybody was wearing a tie. And the guy who's like, this is now Patrick Njoroge's guys, his main director team. Because they know me. And that time I was working even with Edindishu at that time. And they're like, he even made fun of me in his opening remarks. For those guys who do not have ties, I have a few in my boots. You can see me after.
Yeah.
Literally, everybody looks, I am the only guy without a tie. And it's like the really old senior guys. Patrick Njoroge sat right in front of me, the row right in front of me. So I learned that. But yeah, we built a beautiful product. We tried to enter the market in all the ways we could. Nigeria, go-to-market strategy worked. We acquired company. It is what it is today. I worked with a lot of guys. A lot of my guys who advise me, who I talk to, my ex-Opera colleagues. There's a little bit of an Opera mafia coming up. There's a few YC companies. Then now I did OPE for about a year, 8 months. Then after that, because we were very focused in Nigeria and I'm in East Africa, then they moved me. They even scrapped a few guys here. They've moved me now I helped Okash a little bit for 3 months. That in getting their collection system set up. I remember the first Okash guys, we had given out 100K, we're like, we need money back, we need this money back. And literally at that point, we've hired like 6 guys in one day. We're like, you take these 100 numbers, call, here's 1,000 bob credit. Like literally it was that manual. And then when we finished that job, we had systems that would actually call, that would automate, that would link to your KPIs. Like we systemized the whole thing. After that, I did a bit of on the Opera News side. I helped, hire just the first editors and get them an office. Then I moved to the browser, which now I did a lot of BD. So I've done a lot of different things and moved around. I was very lucky to do that. On the Opera browser side, that's when I was interacting a lot with the teams in Europe, the teams in the States, in SA, etc. And I really got to understand how the big tech companies do business together.
Yep. It's a fascinating world.
I had high targets of, you need to close $150,000. I left those guys with a $400,000 deal when I left. And I'm leaving. And Opera is actually Opera was the first company that was paying me properly. Like that was everything I was doing is because I loved it. It's not because of the money. But Opera, I loved it, and they were paying me properly. And yeah, I left Opera, man. I didn't, it was hard. I gave my guys 3 months notice, and I went and started browsing, and literally, that was it. And yeah, they're still some of my best friends. Yeah, I remember sending my resignation letter. I was there with my co-founders. I'm like, guys, look, they even helped me edit it. I'm like, look, I'm about to present. From here, there's no turning back. Bang. They were right next to me, Mike and Hassan, bang, I pressed it. And I learned a lot from Opera as well. And then started when I was in here today. So that's the entrepreneurship side of things. Yeah, I think it's 1 o'clock. Yeah.
Fantastic. We're halfway through this we're more than halfway through this podcast. We haven't even gotten into the Wowzi story. So we'll kind of try and cut through the main points here, and just kind of give as much background as we can. So idea genesis. Okay, so you've done all this stuff. I mean, taken a lot of lessons. I mean, what was it? What was that time frame we were talking about? Was that between Easy Taxi and that Wowzi, email, right? What time frame is this?
That's about 8.5 years.
Solid. Okay, so you've paid your dues. Yeah. You've done your almost 10,000 hours of innovation-driven venture building, essentially. And then Wowzi. So where did the idea come from? First of all, before we go there, what is Wowzi? Tell the audience what Wowzi is, and then where did the idea come from?
Definitely. Yeah. So at Wowzi, we're working to drive global growth for all kinds of businesses through creating technology that supports creator-led social commerce. That's Wowzi in a nutshell. The platform is multi-sided. There's an application for creators, for influencers, for individuals that you can download, sign up, put your preferences and get gigs. On the other side is a platform that brands, small businesses, development agencies, marketing agencies use to create marketing campaigns. So as of Wowzi today, it's an influencer marketing platform. And the real idea behind Wowzi is people trust people like most, like no matter what. And I think some of the best businesses in the world are the ones that appeal to the human nature of people. I think you need to hit people in 3 places: either here in their heart, or down there. Those are the
so head, heart, and groin.
and groin and the groin. Yeah, one of those. There you got the guy, and some businesses that can get all of those. Because even if you look at M-Pesa, it's not that you can send money. It's the fact that you can send your grandmother money. That makes your heart feel good. Microsoft Excel, it helps you think. It's logic. So the idea behind Wowzi was people trust people like I. We developed a mission. Me and my co-founders, we didn't even have the idea before. We wanted to connect capacity and opportunity, and that was one of the the greatest insights. People trust people like that. Like there's so much that is in social capital that you can't.
That has not been monetized. Yes, not many business models have monetized social capital effectively, and those that have done well. Word of mouth goes way further than any ad.
Mm-hmm. It's the best seller. So how can we organize word of mouth? How can we? And I remember even now when they got the idea, among some other few bad ones, at 2 a.m. in the morning, and then I had to like convince my co-founders like this, because even then they had ideas in the first 2-3 weeks, and they actually, like I remember we were having a meeting at Lavalate, and I only went to Lavalate because we didn't have an office. I chose Lavalate because I saw it on Janet Mbugwa's page, and I know Janet Mbugwa because I know Eddie very well, and so that, and it was like a new restaurant. So I was like, guys, let's go try this new restaurant. So we're already there through social capital. We get there. Hassan gets there. He loves flowers and nature. He loves it. Like, oh man, this place is beautiful. Pop.
Taking pictures left and right. Yeah.
Puts it on Facebook. Puts on Facebook, then he puts his phone down, and then we start the meeting. That time I'm presenting an Excel, I'm presenting a document I've worked on for a week. And then when we finish, and I'm trying to convince him, like, this is what we should do.
What was your idea? What was your idea?
It was Wowzi. It was Wowzi now. It was now Wowzi.
Like, and what were you saying you could do?
What if everybody could be an influencer?
Got it.
We know what a celebrity does.
Because everybody's an influencer for the most part. It's not the person. The question is a moot point, because actually everybody's an influencer.
They already are. The person who's going to convince the Mama Mboga the most is the Mama Mboga next to her. That's the perk. It's nobody who's going to, even if you're a politician, whatever it is, there's nobody's going to beat the friend that you sell next to.
Yeah, your peer.
Yeah.
Peer pressure is a son of a gun.
Yeah, it is.
It's a hell of a drug.
It is. And for us, we're looking at Wowzi. We're primarily building peer-driven, localized, network, trust-based economies. That's what we're really organizing and building. Fantastic. So that was the idea. So when Hassan picked up his phone, I could see his phone because he had just put it on Facebook. When he picked it up, he had like 6 comments like, hey, where is this place? It looks nice. And Hassan's rep is influential, his rep. I'm like, you see exactly what you've just done there? I'm like, that is what I'm talking about. That
is social commerce. That's monetizing word of mouth. How do we extract value from that activity?
You've eaten that lunch. So yeah, that's where we started, and it caught on. Did a bit more research. Yeah, then we started moving. And I think where we are today, I think we've when we started, I used to tell people that we've just done 1%. I think right now we're probably at like 2%.
And when did you guys launch? How long ago is this?
We launched in May 2020. So now we've started Wowzi. We have quit. Mike has quit. Everything, we literally used the savings that we used to make, was we were getting paid very well. We tightened up our belts. In our life, we moved from like, you literally send your mom credit. If you go out, you probably just have a beer. That's it. Everything else into the business. Literally, it was like that. And we would work on Wowzi from like, I remember at iHub, we got this little office. I would see the watchman, like, I would get into the office at 5 a.m. So I see the night watchman. He opens the gate for me. I work until 6, 7 on Wowzi. Then I go down, I get like a snack from one of those little restaurants. From like 8 to like 11, we're doing consulting. And that's the money that was actually paying the bills. And then I leave the office at like 12, the same night guy. Then I still see him in the morning. Those guys used to wonder, like, what the hell is this?
Wow. That's what it takes, man.
We bootstrapped like that. We literally put our savings in, everything we had. And then we would consult on the side, every 2-3 months, get a $30,000 check, bam, put it in the business. So that's how we started. So, and yeah, it was a beautiful journey. Now, when we launched May 2020, we started building the product in August. End of August, September. By December.
What were you doing between May? What were you doing between May and August? What was that phase?
So that phase, so we did a lot of tests. I remember the first Wowzi was on WhatsApp and M-Pesa. And this is where I'm at right now with what we're, the future next Wowzi. It's back to basics. I love it, man. Like, forget about this noise that we, growing companies actually gives a lot of noise sometimes.
Right.
So what we were doing is minimum viable tests. I remember the first test to test this thing. We got, we know what a celebrity does, because I had actually used influencers. When I was doing Mondride, I got a musician, because in Tanzania it's a very social place. Yeah. And then Uber came there and hired Diamond. Bang! I'm like, what the hell is this?
They took your playbook and doubled down on that, big time.
They had Diamond driving people as a driver. Man, I was like, but we still competed. We still competed. Now, me, my influencer, this is why I love the proposal. I've paid this guy up front. Yeah, I've recruited 200 drivers. I've told them from Saturday you're getting jobs. I even have this celebrity. You like this guy? He's gonna push this thing. We were giving one. That guy slept, man. I'm like, what? I'm trying to do a chicken and do a chicken and egg. Man, he slept.
He slept through the launch.
Yeah, man. He was supposed to be putting content out from Friday night to Saturday morning to this. This guy slept and woke up at 4 p.m. I'm like, what? That time I'm balancing like 200 drivers who don't trust me. Yeah, I'm trying to get the chance.
Wow. So So
basically, that was the first pain point.
you kind of. This is so funny. It's to Eric's point, your co-founder. You connect the dots backwards. So Wowzi was percolating in your spirit because you had already been using influencer marketing in your previous plays, right? And now you are. This is fascinating. So M-Pesa and WhatsApp. Okay, user test. What minimum viable product? Let's go.
I actually call it the minimum viable test. Not even the minimum viable.
Not even product test. I love it. It's even better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna borrow that then.
and I'm doing a few of those right now, so I'm actually having a lot of fun. If you look at I have whiteboards across all over there. It's just like
fantastic.
So I want to test. If we get normal people to create content, will it actually push the needle? So we got this, friends, family who gave us. There's a restaurant in the CBD near INM. They're like, where we pay influencers, we spend $50,000. And we did research, man. Like, we spoke to over 1,500 people, from your border guy to the CEO to the marketing agents to every single body. Yeah,
let's repeat that number. Let's repeat that number. Let's repeat that number, because it's so important. Because most entrepreneurs in our markets generally build a product and then they go and try and sell to the first customer. They completely skip this whole process of conversations and getting the data and getting the reactions of the market just from a conversational paper market research perspective. It is so critical. You guys went over and above 1,500. Fantastic. Go ahead.
For 1 month, that's what we were doing now between May and August. Yeah? For 1 month, we were, we would have every Thursday, we would have a focus group. I remember our day one, Victoria, she joined on day two. I call her, she joined day two. Day one, I was just alone in the office.
How did you convince her to join?
So Mike runs this thing. Mike loves mentoring. He runs a program called Presidential Fellows, where people who studied abroad who are coming back, trying to fit back in, we would help them. This is the time. Cool. So Mike picked one person really quick. I'm like, Mike, we need one person. Yeah. Mike said, I got it. This is like on a Thursday. On Tuesday, Victoria's in the office. Victoria doesn't even know what Wowzi is, man. That time, even though I explain it, it's not the most simple way to explain this thing.
Still much of it is in your head.
I remember Victoria's first day. She's like, she just walked in. She doesn't know what's going on. And I'm like, this is what we're doing. I don't have enough time to explain to you. I'm going to town to buy laptops. I'll come back. I'll explain to you again. Like I just left her hanging there. She's like,
gazing at the ceiling.
So that test it involved, we got this, and when we did this research, we went to Kibera, we went to everywhere, man. I remember even being in, and this
biggest
is why I
slum
say,
in Sub-Saharan Africa.
When Wowzi really makes it is when the person who's running a small business in my avenue that is, a meter and a half by a meter and a half squared, when they use Wowzi and they make money, we've done something. Right now we are serving the biggest enterprise, globally. But when that happens, because I went there and I made everybody also do this. I made everybody go to the ground. Mike, Victoria, who the little other interns, everybody had to go and do that. Like whether you don't do it today, you can't do it tomorrow, but everybody had to go and do that. And I met this lady, and I could see in her stall she had like a heel. And then she had put her phone there. You know the way people have like pop sockets or like a phone holder? She was using her phone and she's just watching stuff. So I'm like,
right.
how do you market your product? She's like, I spend, in a month between $100 to $150 on Facebook ads. I also give news anchors my dresses and for free, and then they wear it. And that was her biggest sales channel. She would have 10 dresses that look the same. She'll give it to a news anchor for free. And that's where all these news anchors get their clothes, man. For free. Once that person posts it, if she posts on Friday, by Sunday, she's sold the other 10. Bam. I'm like, wow, okay, great. So now when you've got all these insights, we've got a business we wanted now to test. The restaurant, they told us that we spend $50K, we give it to these two influencers, they're celebrities, blah, blah. They're like, okay, for 1 month, we'll give it to you. They give us the $50K. Me and Mike have that check. The first check, we held it like this. I took a photo. And we split that check. So they were doing very well on lunch and dinner. Breakfast, not too good. So they were charging $400 for a particular breakfast. They said, for us to track it, we'll make it $350 for this month. And you guys just promote the breakfast. Don't do nothing else. That $50K, we got $3K. We got a photographer who went and took nice photos of that food in like so many different angles. I got Victoria, told Victoria, just hire 6 students. This is what we need them to do. We're going to give each student 10 photos of the food or 5 photos. We'll give them pre-described captions. So like 10 captions. Everybody has 10 different captions and the photo, and we give them 3,000 bob. And every Monday and Friday, they will go and hang around outside that restaurant and say, hey, my name is Brian. I'm promoting this restaurant. We want to do it through social media. I will pay you $200 if I send you this photo on WhatsApp and this caption and you post right now. And I'll pay you $200. I send it to you right now. That was a test. We did that for 4 weeks, Mondays and Fridays. And eventually we ended up starting to stop people who work in the same places, if you work in this bank, you'll see your friend who you also follow because he's your friend and you work together. You'll see him post about this breakfast. You see this other person. And then eventually the breakfast actually moved. And we're like, if we can do this at a micro level, the people we stopped were, we stopped people. First and foremost, I thought my team was going to be caught by Kanjo. I didn't tell them that. I was very...
Brian, you're just going to bail them out or even probably leave and just get new ones? Yeah. What was going to be your move?
First bail them out and get new ones. That was it. That was the 2 options. But I'll be very close. I'm like, are you guys okay? Because that was my actual concern. Then they're thinking like, So they did that and did that very well.
Hilarious.
Funny enough, one of the guys there is actually he's grown very well. He's in our product team. I'm super proud of him, man. It's like, I love seeing people grow, man. And even go beyond me, So yeah, we did that. We saw the results. And then now at the same time, now I'm trying to, because I had experienced tech. I had a bit of the bad, the good, the ugly. I had, worked with Rocket Internet. The culture was okay, high pressure. The tech was mediocre. works. Mondo, the tech was horrible. I remember the first time developers came to the country. I'm like, so this is what a developer looks like a guy with an Acer laptop. Like this. Oh my days!
You've never seen a developer before, or what, man?
I had, but you know, I'm like this is, you know, we're running a big business here.
Right?
Yeah, we're running a big. We're serving banks. We're serving this, and then we have like 2-3 developers. I'm like, whoa. And then Opera. On Opay is where I worked with the best developers, man. A lot of my friends, I talked to them. I saw, man, like, wow, man, it was amazing. Like, you could, you know, when you come with an idea and you talk to the market and you see how it gets translated into a solution so fast.
Amazing.
And the quality.
Yeah, that's magic, man.
I said, when I was doing Wowzi, I'm like, this is a global idea. We're going to chase world class. We're doing this world class. So I didn't want to start.
I love that about you guys. You know, when we met and you told me that you went for world class devs internationally, which is counterintuitive to our market, I was like, holy shit, these guys are different. They're taking this thing very, very, because product is everything in a lot of ways, right? I mean, if your product is fantastic, all you got to crack is go to market. And if you've done your market research, and then it goes. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that same time I'm looking for talent because I had seen good, bad, ugly talent. I had seen a bit of all of that. So, and I was like, we're going to play here. And I looked everywhere, man. That was said, hey, man, I missed those days. I didn't spend that much time in India. From Germany to New York, I got another number. It's like, oh, thank you very much. You know,
exactly. The price of
I'm trying to find a team
like nowhere else.
Then got some great guys, man. The guys who started out with Wowzi, we had guys who had been part of the forming Skype teams, like guys who built like the first Skype mobile app. We had guys from Bolt. That's why I'm friends with the Bolt founder, because, where they started is very close to where we started. I met him one time and I told him that. I'm like, he's like, well, yeah, the back of my neck of my wood's very close. Looking for talent. Then September, we're scoping it out. We're, debating, arguing with now our head of product till today. And then, September, the build started. December, we had the first app. It was very crappy, buggy. We had people in a room that testing. By Feb, we had now the advertiser web app ready. By March 2020, we had both ready, and we were like, okay, let's serve a few customers. We had like 30 bugs. Let's start serving our friends, the ones who don't mind if we give them a crappy service. Then at the end of March there, early April, we were ready. And then that's when COVID happened. And then I even climbed Mount Kenya in December because I was like, whatever we're going to do, I can't wait to launch this thing. And I know it's going to be hard. I climbed it. I was like, this is just, even this year, I'm going to do something hard like that. I'm thinking of either Mount Kilimanjaro or a skydive, one of those two things.
Fantastic. As you prepare for your next phase. Listen, Brian, this story is fascinating. We've been through an hour. What I would like to do is preserve for part 2, right? Yeah. So we can put this out, and so that the people can actually hear this first part, because your story is dope. And then we can continue part 2, maybe in a month or something like that, or even next week. If you're on your vacation, we can actually pick it up and continue.
Yeah, we can do it. Even next week is good. I do not mind. I'm good.